Students, now we will start with the new chapter biodiversity and conservation. So first we will understand what is biodiversity. So the combined diversity at all the level of biological organization is called biodiversity, or we can say in another word, if we see the different individuals of a species and we see the variation among them, then it is biodiversity. We can see the difference among two different species, then it is biodiversity. Even though if we see the different species or the same species, they are inhabiting in the different geographical area, and there may be several changes. So again, it will be called as biodiversity. Bio means living being, diversity means the variation. So if we see the variation in uh, animals or plants or any life form, then it will be called as biodiversity. So the most important biodiversity we will see here is the genetic diversity first. So in case of genetic diversity, individuals of a single species also have a degree of variation at genetic level over its distributional range, and India has more than 50,000 strains of rice and 1,000 varieties of mango due to their genetic variation. In this kind of variation, genetic diversity, uh, the diversity has taken, we will discuss that the diversity has also been taken place in each and every individuals of a same species also. It means there is a there is a difference among the individuals of a species, and this uh, this variation is due to different reasons, and the main reason is the genetic diversity, means by their genetic genetic structure, they have they have the variation. And we can see that a single species rice is having 50,000 strains in India, and 1,000 strains of mangoes are there. So the species are same, but you can see that different uh, very different varieties are there. And the second level of variation or biodiversity is species diversity. So among this kind of diversity, we see the diversity between two different species, and species of an area can be different from different areas. And the third is ecological diversity. A great diversity can be observed between two ecological habitats such as desert, rainforest, mangrove, coral reefs, and wetlands, etc. So this is the third type of biodiversity, and this diversity is just because of ecological diversity or ecological distribution. So the biodiversity is a result of millions of years of evolution. It means this biodiversity happened just because of evolution, and this evolution has taken place since millions of years, and this its conservation is very necessary for our existence, because we are losing the biodiversity at a very fast rate. So since uh, as we know that many of the species now in the threatened species, some may have been extincted, some may be in the endangered condition. So we can say that we are losing the biodiversity, or we can say different species. So it is very essential to conserve them for our existence. Now we'll see the status of this biodiversity in world as well as India. So according to IUCN in 2004, the total number of plants and animals reported were more than 1.5 million. So up to now 1.5 million of the animals and plants have been reported, and yet more has have to be discovered, and more than 70% of the all species recorded are animals. while plants, which includes algae, fungi, bryophytes, gymnosperm and angiosperm, comprises 22% of the total. So we can see that large number of uh, uh, large number of diversity has been uh, contributed by animals only, 70%, and 22% by plants. Now we can see the diversity of the world in details. So as we discussed that more than 70% is contributing from the animal alone, and out of the whole animals diversity, 70% is contributed by insects only. And the plants, as we discussed, that it uh, accounts around 22%, and microbes and protozoans, we don't know exactly their diversity or their contribution, because we cannot estimate them, just because we cannot culture them and we cannot grow them. So a lot of microbes are there which are yet to be discovered. And although on the basis of species diversity, insects alone is contributing maximum among all. We have seen that in a total number of species in animals, insects are contributing alone around 70%. But the number of individuals of the fungi is more than all the organisms. So we can see the clear cut difference among the number and the diversity. So the number of species or diversity is more in case of uh, insects, but in case of number, the individuals of fungi is more as compared to rest of the organism. And as compared to global species diversity, India shares around 8.1% of the biodiversity alone. About 45,000 species of plants and twice of the animals have been recorded from India alone. It means India is rich in the biodiversity. As per May's global estimate, only 22% of the total species have been recorded so far. It means a lot of species or varieties have been discovered, yet to be discovered. Now we'll see the pattern of biodiversity. So there is a pattern of the biodiversity on the earth. So we will see what are the patterns. First one is latitudinal gradient. It means there is a distribution of biodiversity, or there is a pattern of biodiversity which uh, according to the latitudinal gradient. So we will see here what is the effect of latitudinal gradients on the biodiversity. So uneven distribution of plants and animals occur throughout the world, and there is a pattern in the diversity, and most interesting and well-known latitudinal gradient in diversity. And the general species diversity decreases when we move from equator to poles. It means when we uh, go from equator to poles, then we can see that the number of species, or we can say the diversity of species, decreases. It means on equator there is more uh, there is more variation in the animals on uh, and as compared to poles. So the as we know that tropics harbors more species than temperate or polar areas, just because of the tropics are, are present at a particular latitude, and as compared uh, and the temperate and polar on different latitude of on the earth. So Colombia near the equator has about 1400 species of birds, while New York has 105 species. Greenland only 56 species. Since mostly the Indian land parts have been in tropical latitude, has 1200 species of the bird. So we can see here with the examples that the areas present on or nearby the equator is having more diversity as compared to the rest of the part of earth. So tropical forest with Ecuador has more than 10 times of the species of the vascular plants as compared to temperate forest midwest of USA, and the tropical Amazon rainforest in the South Africa has greatest biodiversity in the world. It has 40,000 species of the plant, 3,000 fishes, 1,300 birds, 427 of mammals, 427 of amphibians, 378 reptiles, and more than 1,25,000 invertebrates, and 2 million insects may have to be discovered yet. So we can see that more amount of biodiversity we can see by these examples are present in the equatorial region as compared to poles and the rest of the part of the earth. So there is a reason for this great diversity in tropical regions. Now we will see what are the regions for the great diversity in tropical regions. First one, relatively, tropical regions have been undisturbed for the millions of years, provided a long time for evolution of species and diversification. So we can say that since the tropical regions which is present on the equator have been less disturbed, so that the evolution has taken place in a good way, so that there had been a great species biodiversification. The second is tropical environments are less seasonal, relatively more constant and predictable, promotes constant environment to make niche specialization for species diversity. Since we have already studied what is niche, so this niche is uh, position of an animal or plant or any biological system or living being which is having a functional role in the environment, and this functional environment has been constant in tropical environments because there is less seasonal variation and relatively more constant environmental situation and more predictable environmental situation. So it has promoted the environment to make several niche specialization. And the third is presence of more solar energy in tropical regions to induce great productivity and great diversity. So as we know, there is an energy flow which starts from the absorption of light from the plants, then due to more solar energy in the tropical regions, the productivity is more, and when the productivity is more, so the the number and type of individuals in each trophic level is more. So there is a great diversity. So these are the three main reasons uh, due to which we can see a great biodiversity in tropical regions as compared to temperate and poles. Thank you.